someone who inspires me to get involved in politics. Bonnie Norton is the deputy leader. She's the deputy leader of the Green Party of Ontario, and she has served as a member of the board of directors of the Canadian Association of Retired Persons, and she will be the next member of Parliament for Barrie Innisfil. Give it up to Bonnie Norton!
Hi. Thank you so much for coming. You know, back in the 60s, there used to be a show called The Twilight Zone. Yeah! And there was an episode of The Twilight Zone where a bunch of people were at a dinner party. And it got late and this guy got up to leave, but everybody wanted him to stay. So he stayed, and a few more hours went past, and then it was really getting late and people wanted to go. But the problem was when they went to leave, they couldn't. It was like some kind of invisible force field was holding them in that building. And so they had to solve the mystery of what happened. And what they realized was when the first man got up to leave, that was the point of no return. That if they didn't leave at that point, they were doomed to spend the rest of their lives in this house. And I want to talk about that for a minute, the point of no return. So I have a dream, a nightmare actually, where I've gone back in the past and I'm trying to warn everyone about an impending catastrophe. And I'm saying, I'm from the future, I know what's going to happen. Listen to me, if you do this, you can stop it. And no one is listening. And the problem is we are facing multiple points of no return right now in our world. We are seeing the warnings, and I feel like we're ignoring them. We're seeing a president who is openly racist, a man who is in charge of the leader of the most powerful country on earth. We're seeing children locked in cages in the southern border. We're seeing democracy that after World War II, nations around the world fought for progressive policies and human dignity for everyone. And we're seeing that eroded now with the rise of racism and populism around the world. And unfortunately, we live in a country that is so wealthy, and yet we have homeless people, we have children who go to school hungry. But here's the thing, I believe that we have a future, an incredible future. The Green Party wants to bring us policies that can stare these points of no return down and reverse them. We want to have a future. I believe in a future where we can have basic income, where we can have pharmacare, where we absolutely, where we can have a national housing strategy, where we can have basic dental care, where we can have free tuition. I believe that we have a future where corporations are not continually subsidized by all of us, and where that money goes to making sure that people are okay. And we're at that point of no return with the climate crisis. And I believe that we can take bold action so that my son, so that your children and your grandchildren will have a future where they are not living in an uninhabitable planet. So, recently this spring, when there were cuts to the Toronto Health Services, there were people online talking about how this would affect school breakfast programs. And a teacher talked about the school breakfast program in her school, and she told the story of a little boy who came to the school every day for his breakfast, and he cried. He cried every day. And he wasn't crying because he was embarrassed that he had to get breakfast at school. He wasn't crying because he hated the food. He was crying because he was grateful. He was crying with joy because he knew that there was a place he could go every day and count on a meal. And I believe in a future where we should have a national food strategy that includes a school food program. And we can do this. We can do this. This future can happen now. And we can do it no matter what your political color or stripe is. We can do it whether you are left or right or center. Because we can do it and we can work together. So, I hope that you will join us Greens, who want to do these things so that we can have a future where we have access and the right to clean air, clean food, clean water, where we have access to homes where we can live in dignity, and a basic income guarantee where we know that we have a soft place to fall. And thank you. And we can do this now, but we need to do it together. I don't care if you're left, I don't care if you're right. It starts